If you want to stitching, blood, and a car spin that almost killed one of the cast members of The Flash, then we suggest you keep on watching. You may even question whether a high salary can justify the injury. Anyways, without any further ado, here are the 10 scenes in The Flash that were dangerous to film. Let's dive right into it, shall we? Number 10. This fight scene that took a toll on Flash. When your apartment is located near one of the shooting locations for The Flash, then you get to watch the behind-the-scenes footage for free. The video this person took started off fairly mellow. Barry and one of his villains were having a standoff, but then in just a few seconds, some heat and intensity was added to the mix. Namely, Barry's stunt double had to be pulled back rather forcefully using cables. The stunt double landed on a metal plate placed over a mattress, but judging by the reaction of the cast members, we don't think that the stuntman was very comfortable being flung across the set like a dirty old rag. Number 9. Barry vs. Godspeed.
Flash! Now you'll feel the real power of speed!
Of course, we could never forget about the epic fight scene between Barry Allen and Godspeed. And no, we're not talking about the CGI chases and lightning bolts. We're talking about the moment Barry and his ally defeated Godspeed by shooting him with a double-blasted wave. His speed was neutralized and he fell onto that car like a lifeless brick. Now, we don't know whether these people used a dummy, some empty weights, or a rigged car, but we sure hope they didn't use a real person, because if they used a stunt double for the scene, that guy can say goodbye to his back. Imagine the impact the body must have in order to shatter the car windows like that. If you don't believe that these stunts are dangerous, one actor had to get stitches because of a nasty injury during filming. Number 8. Flash dodges a spinning car on set. Here's one of the scenes we talked about in the intro. You see, Grant Gustin's stunt double was in the middle of the road and they were supposed to shoot a very dangerous scene. The sports car was supposed to hit the brakes before ever getting too close to him. But this wasn't the case. Why? Because when the driver pressed on the brake, the car smashed that like button just like you should do if you haven't done so already. But no, in reality, the car spun 180 degrees and almost hit the young stuntman. Luckily, he somehow foresaw what was about to go down and he quickly moved away. Number 7. Iris takes on DEVOE'S wife.
Mrs. West Allen. I was hoping we'd meet again.
When it comes to dangerous scenes, you can never bear a good old fist fight. And because we saw one of these epic fights go down between Iris and DEVOE'S wife, we're definitely going to include it on this list. The dangerous part about this scene is the coordination. If these two actresses haven't exercised the moves before shooting the scene, someone might get punched head in the face during the takes. And this is especially the case when the fight scene involves a sharp sword and a gun. Number 6. DANIELLE PANABAKER needed 7 stitches after an injury. There was a reason DANIELLE PANABAKER aka Killer Frost was rocking bangs all throughout Season 2. You see, while shooting the second season, DANIELLE fell and suffered a terrible injury to her forehead, right above her right eye. She was immediately rushed to the hospital, got 7 stitches, and then resumed work. She didn't miss a single day of shooting. The picture was posted on social media and the caption read, "Throwback to last week when I fell and bumped my head and had to get 7 stitches. I'm doing so much better now, didn't even miss a day of work." Thank you to everyone who helped put Humpty Dumpty back together again. And yes, because her new hairstyle was a hassle, she had to walk around with a small flat iron in her purse. For just $20, she doesn't have to worry about messy bangs ever again. Number 5. Reverse Flash takes on The Flash.
I have only done what I had to do. Nothing more. Nothing less.
The last 2 episodes of Season 1 showed us why this show is going to be epic and there's going to be a lot more seasons to come. For example, in episode 22, Reverse Flash took on Barry Allen, Oliver Queen, and Firestorms and managed to get his butt kicked. First, he threw Barry into the Starlapse sign, which meant that some cables needed to be used in order to make the scene believable. Then he extinguished Firestorm, and finally he took on Oliver Queen after he was shot with an arrow that slowed him down. Oliver then took his time finishing him off before Barry threw him off a building onto the floor of a car, just like what we saw with Godspeed. All of that fighting, pulling, and even free-falling comes with a certain level of risk which the new actors had to undertake. And yeah, make sure you watch until the very end if you want to see which scene bloodied Grant Gustin on the set. Number 4. The Flash vs. CICADA. CICADA caused more than a few problems to Team Flash, and that's why Barry and Killer Frost had to face him once and for all. In this fight scene, the first dangerous stunt we saw was when CICADA plunged his blade into the ground and caused a red shockwave to expand from the floor, knocking Barry and Killer Frost away. Now, Danielle wasn't injured, but Grant had to be plunged into a wall of boxes, which we imagine wasn't really comfy. Now, when Barry finished CICADA off, he used a powerful punch that knocked him across the floor, which translates into more cable and more uncomfortable falls. Number 3. The fight between Barry and Zoom. To say that Zoom was a bad guy on The Flash would be an understatement. He killed Barry's father as soon as he came out from prison. Barry was devastated, so he made it his mission to kill him. In the last episode of the season, we saw them face each other for a final time, and Barry stopped the reactor from exploding. When Zoom saw this, the close-up fight began. Initially, they exchanged a few punches, then Barry bashed him into a metal box that explodes upon impact. Now, we don't know about you, but getting smashed into a metal box and have explosives set off at the time of impact is not our definition of fun working environment. And all of this was topped off with about 100 gut punches. Number 2. The car crash that almost killed Grant. With the exception of one scene, in the other 7, we just talked about potential dangers of injury. But this one is different. Very different. Do you see that huge bloody graze on Gustin's forehead? Well, that's not makeup. As they were filming an insane car crash on the set of The Flash, Grant suffered a very serious injury. But did that stop him from filming the scene? Heck no! The guy even waved at the paparazzi as they were taking his photo. Here, you can clearly see the injury. However, because the scene was so important to the show, he didn't want a quote-unquote little scratch on his forehead to stop the production. Number 1. All of the SAVITAR fight scenes.
It's about time.
Yes, it is.
Whether that's the first time we got to see Barry and Joe fighting this metallic blue speedster, or the final scene between him and the entire Team Flash, all of the fight scenes involved some risk of injury. Why? Because SAVITAR is a very powerful speedster that had this tendency to throw his victims across the set, and Jay Garrick got to see this firsthand. Even if they used a stunt double, the way SAVITAR bashed Garrick in that alley was pretty scary. The scene where SAVITAR finally reveals his true identity is particularly dangerous for Grant, because he had to simulate an explosion that shot him several feet across the ground. Imagine how much cables and machinery they had to use to achieve this near-perfect shot. On a related note, if you were an actor, would you ever do such a dangerous stunt if you knew you could injure yourself? You can tell us in the comment section below. If you'd like more videos like these, don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel and hit the bell icon so you never miss any of them. And as always, thanks for watching, guys.